I think hope has never been more important. If we lose hope, we fall into apathy and we're doomed.
Dr. Jane Goodall, it is such an honor and privilege to be talking with you this afternoon. For a generation of environment journalists, people like me, you were the role model. We read about your work, and that's inspired us to come into environment journalism. It's such a pleasure to be talking with you today.
Well, it's great to talk to you as well, and especially because I love Mongabay, and so I'm very happy to talk with both of you.
Thank you, ma'am. For me, my journey was a bit different. I have an academic background, so I studied animal behavior. And from the time I started studying, I've been seeing your pictures and reading your books and so on. And for me to be in the same room as you is very thrilling. So, yeah, that's my fangirl moment for you. So, yeah.
You have traveled all over the world and met so many people across nationalities, religions, cultures, ages. You're a very successful communicator, in fact, a role model for all of us on the need for environment conservation. From your experience, what is it that unites people when you're communicating on environment?
Well, I found that going from one place to another, people can look very different and they can have different cultures and be particularly interested in different kinds of things. But basically, when you actually get inside the person, we're all human beings and we can all fall in love. We can all, unfortunately, get angry and hate each other. We are really connected by so many different aspects of being human. And I think that's the key thing. We're all human beings with our faults. And so we need to get together now and make the world a better place.
Going forward with what you just said, I've read about how your work with the chimpanzees has given you a level of clarity about animal behavior and the various elements of it. But similarly, your body of work with communication and outreach, when did that moment come to you that this is what I want to do from now?
Well, it wasn't so much what I wanted to do, it was what I felt I had to do. And so, having learned about the chimpanzees starting in 1960, put together, or helped to put together, a conference in 1986. When I began studying chimps, it was just me, but by the early 70s, other groups were studying chimps in different parts of Africa. And by 1986, when we brought some of these groups together to learn, do chimpanzees have different cultures? Do they adapt to different environments, which they do? At that same conference, it was totally shocking to find that chimpanzees across Africa were disappearing and forests were being cut down. And it really was a shock. And I thought I'd love to stay in Gombe, out in the rainforest, learning about these amazing chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. But now there's this problem, and I feel I just have to try and do something. So that began in 1986.
Dr. Goodall, you have come to India twice before, and of course interact with people in India virtually. What draws you back to India, and what do you think is unique for us in India?
Well, first of all, there is one of 25 Jane Goodall Institutes in India. And I try to get around the world and visit the different institutes in different countries, as far apart from Europe, North and South America, the Middle East, Africa, and of course now in India. And so what brings me to India now is because I try and visit these different organizations that, bear my name and encourage them and help them raise money and profile. And for some reason which still I don't understand, people want to come and hear when I talk. And this, of course, is very helpful for the different Jane Goodall institutes around the world. So here I am back in India, giving talks, giving interviews, particularly working with our Roots and Shoots program, which is our environmental humanitarian program for young people, kindergarten all the way through university. And the main message is every single one of us makes an impact on the planet every single day. And we need to choose wisely what sort of impact we make. And so I think that growing this program is my greatest hope for the future, because when young people understand the problems and are empowered to take action, they just roll up their sleeves, they get out there, they're passionate, they're enthusiastic. And the great thing that makes it different from other environmental organizations is that the young people are able to choose their project. And between them, they choose projects to help people, animals, the environment, because it's all interconnected. And then having chosen their project, they could choose to join one of the campaigns, like in India, Oceans Are Us, learning about the oceans. And so it really is encouraging to see how Roots and Shoots is growing in India and around the world, because, let's face it, the world's a mess. We're going through pretty dark times, socially, politically, but very much environmentally. And we need to try and slow down climate change, slow down loss of biodiversity before it's too late.
Ma'am, I allied with how you feel about children and the way that they have an impact on the world. We also feel that the women in India also play a great role in conservation, both directly, indirectly, in their own way. And women in India straddle all kinds of spectrums, from the really poor to the privileged to educated to illiterate and so on. But they are a very key contingent when it comes to conservation, is our feeling. So what has been your experience and any message to women in specific?
Well, it's really true, and it's exactly the same in Africa. And I think women understand the need to protect the environment because they love their children and they want to save a future for their children. And so I found that, yes, men are really good conservationists too, no question about that. But women have this, I suppose it's a nurturing aspect to our personalities. Throughout evolution, our job has been to raise our family and look after the family. And so we now widen that so that we need to look after the whole environment before it's too late, and for our children.
You have been a goodwill ambassador for Mongabay. We publish for Mongabay in India. What is the message that you would like to give to our readers and viewers who are in India?
Well, first of all, let me say that Brett Butler, who founded Mongabay, is a really good friend of mine, and I think I've known him right from the beginning of Mongabay, before Mongabay India was even thought of. And so I actually believe it is the best organization of its kind for getting information about environmental and social problems around the world. And so I think readers need to know that what they read with Mongabay is true. There's no fake news in Mongabay, as it's not true in other parts of the world. And so I think it's really, really good that Mongabay India was begun, because India has many problems like the whole world, and Mongabay can share this information. And when you share information, that means people may say, gosh, I never realized that, and want to help to do something about it.
Dr. Goodall, you also have a launched program on Reasons for Hope, which you call Reasons for Hope. We want to know more about it.
Yeah, I think hope has never been more important because, if we lose hope, we fall into apathy, we do nothing, and we're doomed. So, particularly for young people, to move forward without hope, what a horrible thought. So, my reason for hope, first of all, as I've said, young people, because young people, when they understand, they really are energetic in trying to make a difference. Secondly, we've got this extraordinary intellect, and we're beginning to use it for the right reasons. We're beginning to search into alternative energy and so on. Thirdly, nature is incredibly resilient, so we can destroy a place almost totally, give it time and maybe a bit of help, and nature will come back and once again make a barren place beautiful. And then finally, there's the indomitable spirit, people who tackle what seems impossible and they won't give up, and they so often succeed. And when I talk about this indomitable spirit, it's not only the environment, because all of this is interconnected. And I think, for India, you have Mahatma Gandhi inspiring people around the world to help India's problems. And then you get people, and again, you've got many in India who are physically disabled, and yet, while some of them will just give up, others will be out there and inspiring everybody around them because of what they're tackling with so little. People starting off with no money and yet somehow managing to get out there, start a small business, and perhaps grow it and raise their children. And all this is, it's a definite reason for hope that we're resilient in the face of adversity.
Thank you. On that note of hope, we are very grateful that you gave us time, and it's a real pleasure and honor to meet you. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure speaking to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.